Hi guys, welcome back to another GGF mod video. Today we'll be taking a look at our second InWin 805 build. Now we've had to do a second build because we sent our first one down for a video shoot for a company and the courier sort of messed up and sort of lost the build. Now we have heard from since that it has been found. The condition is unknown. I've been told it's not too crash hot. So before I knew all this, we do need quite a few InWin builds, including the 805 build for PAX Australia coming up. So instead of waiting to see the end result, I rushed out and bought another InWin 805 straight away and worked on doing a build. Now, luckily enough, I had enough gear sort of for another build coming up, which I was able to throw in for the interim to get this build up. And pretty much went from there. So I spent the first day painting the case white. So if you were familiar with the original InWin 805, I did a ROG theme. It was very black and red and it had a bit of chrome in it, but this time I wanted to do something a bit different. I wanted to sort of reverse this, but I wanted to keep the ROG theme and I wanted to do something a bit different. So I went with a white ROG theme. So as you can see, I've gone with a lot of white. I spent the first day completely painting the case white, the inside, the outside. The only things that I kept stock was the really nice brushed aluminium top and then the black down the bottom and the feet, just to give it a bit of perspective from the top and the bottom. Then I spent all day sort of painting the inside, painting sort of bits and pieces to go with it, like the radiator I matched. I even painted the GPU block white because that was originally a red one, I think. I painted the PSU cover to match. I think that might have been white or black plexi anyway, so I just primed it and painted it white to match, and then I sort of went from there. Then I added some sort of red trim, which is the radiator bracket here. So some of these colors might be coming out a bit orange. It's very hard to film red, but all this red, even in here, I added some plexi red, the coolant. They're a very sort of deep dark red, which they all sort of look nice together, but on the camera they're probably coming out a little bit orange. And I even painted the front all red as well there, and I also added the InWin logo on the front as well there. And I kept the top red bit there, as you can see, just to keep that sort of match with the rest of the case. So some of the other things I did, I added a few sort of vinyl decals. I didn't go overboard. I sort of just added 3. I added a nice ROG logo on the GPU block there. Then I added the Bits Power one down the bottom there, just to sort of show off the sort of Bits Power gear in here. And then I added this this fancy sort of ROG sort of decal I found from a wallpaper. It's been around for years. They actually did have the Republic of Gamers text in the center there, but I actually sort of changed that to the ROG logo, and I think that looks pretty sweet as well there. So apart from that, some of the other things, one thing I will mention, that if you are looking at modding one of these InWin 805s, I really like these cases, but by default it can only take a 240, a maximum of a 240 or a 280 radiator, because down the bottom on this radiator sort of mount, you can just unscrew this, take this out, screw your radiator on. There's actually a right angle little lip that sticks out, and that stops any longer rads from going down. They've even got ventilation all the way down here, but the radiator just stops anything longer. So I just ran that through the table saw, sheared off that edge, and now I can extend a radiator longer. So it's a very simple little mod to do, and it takes no time at all. Then I added some Thermaltake ring fans, which are red to go with the build. I got a total of 7, so I managed to fit a 45mm thick radiator. I've got a push-pull setup on the radiator, and then I've got the rear exhaust fan there, so quite a few fans. Then I've gone with the Asus, what is that actually? X99 Deluxe. This is for another build, but I threw this in here. This gorgeous Bits Power full cover block for the board. I've got a heap of Vexia Blitz DDR4. Now, I did have 2 kits, a red kit and a white kit, so I've alternated them. I think it goes red, white, red, white, red, white, red, white. You'll see that when I turn it on in a tick. Then I've gone with a GTX 780 Poseidon. Now, it is a bit of mixed match hardware, only because I just had to sort of rush this and use what I had spare. So because this is a display build, it's really just to look good. So I've thrown in a Poseidon. I managed to find out that the Bits Power DCU2 blocks for their 780s fit on the Poseidons, no worries at all. So thank God I can sort of move away from those sort of all-in-one coolers, the water cooling hybrid ones that come on the Poseidon. Although they work good, they are a little bit restrictive, and when you're doing a loop like this, you sort of don't want any sort of restricted components in your loops. Then I moved down to an Asus Raider 240GB PCI Express SSD. Now, I didn't really need to have that. It does kind of not match too well because it is black, but I just thought I'd throw that in, and I didn't have enough time to paint that white. Then I'm going with the Hyperx SSD. Once again, I probably could have painted around the black white, but bear in mind, I did this build all within 3 days, so I was really rushed for time. Then I added sort of this funky setup here. If you're familiar with the first InWin, I had the floating res up the top and then I had the pump res combo down the bottom. I wanted to do something a bit different, and you can't actually fit a full res up here because of the radiator space. So I managed to put 2 little reses the same size, split them in the middle and do them either side of the GPU and the block as well. So that sort of looks a little bit different. And then I got this really nice all clear pump top here, which is really nice. You can actually see all the coolant inside it. And then I've just gone with all the white Bits Power coolant. And I didn't go with any bends. I wanted to keep everything relatively straight, just to keep in line sort of with the nice right angleness of the case. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this. And then I just had to rush out and buy, I think these are cable mod cables that I got. I bought the actual single strands and I could make up my own color combo. Got some closed combs and just threw them on there. So what I'll do is I'll fire this up. Now bear in mind, it is going to come out orange. I have added a clear bit of plexi down here, which I like to do. Now what I do is, this is a clear bit of plexi with an LED strip behind it. So the LED strip runs along the back. So this will light up red all the way along. And I got some funky modes on the remote, which I can change as well. So I'll just fire this up. Now it's probably going to sort of be a bit orange, as I just said, but we'll just have a look. So that mode is simply just pulsating, and I can change this to all different fancy modes. Now I've only stuck this to a red strip. I didn't go with RGB because mainly this is going to stay red when it's at the event. Alright, so apart from that, I even went down to painting the red fan screws. I thought, what the heck, I might as well do as much as I can. I painted the PCI slot covers red as well, match that. And yeah, sort of that's pretty much it. So for a 3-day build, I'm pretty happy with it. Quite a bit sort of went on. It was a bit rushed, but yeah, really happy with how the paint turned out, and even on the GPU block as well. But yeah, if you're heading to PAX Australia, which is in Melbourne in just under 2 weeks time, I believe, be sure to check out the InWin booth, where we'll have this one here. We'll have our other 4 or 5 builds there as well. So come and say hi. And thanks for watching, and stay tuned for next time.